Hey, it is Jody, a fervor voice. I am back 1 year past, talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness being something that I wrestled with for a long time. And once I gained more of an understanding, I was able to define it myself. When I was teaching, I would always require my students to give me a functional definition for words that they maybe just learned or words that we talked about, words that I was teaching them to broaden their vocabulary. And by functional definition, what it means to you, but it does need to be rooted in the technical definition of a word. So let's just talk about forgiveness, what forgiveness is, what forgiveness means to me. So many people have so many definitions. But when I speak of forgiveness, and when it's on this podcast, I need it to be clear what I mean. Let's do the work, y'all. Forgiven. Let's go. So let's get right into the forgiveness thing. Forgiveness was the second episode that I did on my podcast, and it was one that was really emotional for me. It was triggering me in all sorts of ways, but it was one that I did need to do because at the time, the therapist that I was seeing, and that therapist had gotten sick, but she was in the process of teaching me what forgiveness really was, and she left me with some information, and I remember I read over it so many times, and I thought that forgiveness was just treating people the way you treated them, just as if you first met them, like you're kind and you're all that. That's how you have to treat them when you have forgiven them. That's what forgiveness is. That's what I thought. I also thought that if I said, okay, well, you good. I thought that's what it meant. But as time went on, and I was feeling so many different emotions about BJ and about the situation, as time went on, it started to set in that, wait a minute, this thing is layered. And I didn't know that, and I didn't realize that. But Lisa did teach me a really valuable lesson that everything, every concept that has to do with grief, that has to do with growth, every concept has to be thought through in a way that's serious, in a way that's deep, in a way that literally has to shake you a bit. So I think back on people that have impacted me, people that I know that I have impacted. Maybe not in a positive way all the time, but there are certain people that just pop into my head. And I just wanted to share this one because I thought it was kind of funny, but So there was a girl in high school, and I remember I had all these things I had to handle, and this was my senior year, so I had all these things I had to handle and all these different things that I had to do. Senior year didn't go the way I thought it would, but that's another story. We might get to that. But anyway, I had all these things that I had to handle. There are expenses, there are pictures, there are, just different things that you have to do. And I had money for the things that needed to be paid for in my purse. Gym class, threw it in my locker, and my locker was a little trick locker. It was a trick locker. It wouldn't lock sometimes it would, and I was in a rush. So I just closed it and walked away. Did not think about girl in PE that everybody knew. She'd clip you in a minute. Everybody knew it. I didn't think about her though. She wasn't in class on a daily basis, so I wasn't really on the lookout. Well, of course she was in class that particular day, of course. So, gym and PE is over. I call it gym like a kid, but PE is over, right? Go back, get my things, and I'm like, okay, purse isn't even closed. And I never just walk away without closing my purse. So it's open. And I knew right there, all that money is gone. All that money is gone. So now I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to handle this. Because I worked. I had a job, so I paid for things like that. And my mother didn't let me get away with just all kinds of expenses and things without me handling some of it on my own. It's my senior year, so this is a year about independence. So, I'm so out of breath. Anyway, walking through the house and everything else. But I get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm either going to have to make this back up or I'm going to have to get it on my own. I find her, try to shake her down. You know she ain't coming clean. You can search my pockets. You know, search your pockets. I didn't find you till 2 hours after you'd already stolen money. Stolen the money. So it's like, okay, let me figure this out. It's not going to do me any good to have a fight right now. I want the money. So I'm mad about it. I told the story 50 different times. And she did this, she did that. I'm calling her all out her name, just wilding. So then I said, well, I'll go to the house. I'll go to the house and I'll get my money from the house there. I'll go over to the house. My mother answers the door. And this is just how ridiculous I was. I went off on her mama. Like, what? It's 17 years old. Going off on somebody's mother. Lucky me, her mother was a kind woman. It just excused ignorance. Lucky for me. Because I know some mothers after school, I think of right now, just wouldn't have had that. So, long story short, I go there, I clown, I'm fussing, your daughter, your daughter is a thief, she stole my money, and I want my money, and you tell her I'm looking for her, Now, that's the lightweight version, because there was some cussing going on there. I'm telling you, that's just how ridiculous I was. So, at the end of the day, I didn't end up getting my money. I didn't end up getting anything. At the end of the day, I just had to work a little bit more, make that up, and handle what needed to be handled. Fast forward, it's been a couple of years, and I see her, and I don't know how she's going to react. She had no reaction. She said hello. She gave me a hug. And we laughed at what happened. I was forgiven. Did she give the money back? Some may think, well, you weren't forgiven unless she gave you that money back. That's what we all have our way of forgiving. We all have our own definition of forgiveness. And it's at different levels for different people. I wasn't a close friend of hers. I just knew who she was. We spoke and things like that in class until that situation happened. And then after that, we didn't have two words to say to each other. I'd shoot dirty looks at her and all that. Roll my eyes at her. Say all kinds of reckless stuff about her to other people. I did all of those things. But then a couple years later, after we had both kind of gotten past that, it was up to her to forgive me for what I had done as far as disrespecting her mother. And it was up to me to forgive her for doing what I knew she had done. And we had both let it go. So we can say hello to each other, not wish ill will on each other, at least for me, not wish ill will, and keep it moving. Forgiveness has to do with the person that is doing the forgiving. At the end of the day, I don't know if she forgave me or not. I don't know. It felt like it, but I don't know if she did or not. And it's none of my business if she forgave me or not. It's none of my business. What is my business is that I forgave her. The forgiveness was there. She was forgiven. Everyone's definition of forgiven or forgiveness looks different. Everyone's level of forgiveness for individuals looks different also. Case in point, she may not be able to stand me, but she let it go for that time while she spoke. Did we hash it all out, break it all down? We didn't do that. We didn't do that. Because at the end of the day, I don't know if she took it or not because I didn't see her. I just know she was the only one that I knew of that was in that gym or that was in the locker room. But I don't know what she did. Hell, I don't know. But I know that when I saw her a couple years past, we were good. I had forgiven her. I had moved on. It doesn't make a difference. So at the end of the day, the forgiveness, that was about me. It really wasn't about her. Whether she forgave me or not, it doesn't matter. I'll give you another scenario. My junior year, I had a certain situation that went on. I don't remember what happened. I'm sure I said some reckless things because I know how my mouthpiece was. So I'm sure I said some reckless things. So I said something to her. She dared me to say it to her face. I said it to her face. And she busted me in the mouth. Had it coming. Yeah, I can say that because I'm 52. At the time, I was like 17. So this girl was a year older than me, but that didn't matter to me. So she hit me dead in my mouth. So, of course, fight's on. The fight is on. So we fight. Doesn't last very long. It gets broken up. Next thing I know, it's like staff's coming in there, teachers coming in there and everything, it got all loud and everything. It was broken up. Broken up before anybody could see anything, before anybody could snatch anybody up, suspend anybody, anything like that. It was like we just straight up just got out of the area, right? We never spoke again. She graduated. She was off. She ended up, and I'm not going to mention her name, by the way. She ended up becoming a hairstylist. So she ended up becoming a stylist, and she was like the hottest stylist in the area, like one of the hottest stylists in the area, right? I already had my own stylist who did my hair every week. Something happened with her, and she couldn't do my hair. I needed my hair done for something. There was something that was going on, and I needed my hair done. It was urgent. Like I needed to have my hair done. So a couple weeks in advance, I call on this same girl that I had a fight with in high school, like probably 3-4 years prior. I call on this same girl. She makes the appointment, and my sister's like, okay, you gonna let her get in your hair? I was like, yeah, this girl, please. That's high school. Don't know like thinking about that. She was like, I wouldn't let her get in my hair. I wouldn't, I was like, please. That girl is making money. She sees nothing but green, and my money is the same green as everybody else's. It'll be fine. She was just like, girl, you crazy. I was like, no, it's good. I didn't think about it. I did not give it a second thought. Why? Because I had forgiven her. I was over it. I was good. Then came the day that I was supposed to get my hair done. So I go there, and she's not there. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up. No, I had an appointment at it. They're like, nah, she left about 30 minutes ago. And I was like, well, did she say she's coming back? And they were like, no, not that I know of. I knew right then and there, okay, no need to call, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Like, leave her alone, let that go. Because what my sister said had to be true. So she calls me, my sister calls me, she's like, how'd your hair appointment go? And I was like, I had to do my hair myself. I didn't have a hair appointment because she wasn't there. She said, see, I told you. That girl don't deal with you. I told you. Why did you think she would do your hair? And I was like, because it's old. We were kids. And she was like, yeah, but she, you should have known better than that. And I'm glad she wasn't there. Because she would have just jacked your hair up just because. So I think about that. I think about that now. Her level of forgiveness was just like, not there. Not there. She had not forgiven. Do I get that? I don't get that. But it's not for me to get. I had forgiven her, and that's all I know. And I had forgiven her to the point where I was going to trust her to do a service for me and trust that she would do it professionally. She could have gotten me much worse. Like, she could have done some crazy stuff, but she just decided, I'm gonna just let this, I'm just going about my business. That was her level of forgiveness. I don't consider it forgiveness at all. I consider it revenge, but I didn't know there was revenge for, a kid and an adult, but it's not for me. All of that to say everybody's level of forgiveness looks a little different. For me, forgiveness is, I don't wish any ill will on you. And not only that, I'm not going to do anything to you to cause you pain. I have no desire because I trust. And we'll get to that in a minute. But when I say that I have forgiven, it has to be understood that I have forgiven on my terms. These situations, these are old ones. But even when I look at the situations that have gone on recently, within the last 5 years of my life, I had a very close-knit group of friends. I wish them the very best, though. But I also know that there was no room in their life for me, and I understand that. It's understood. I also know that when BJ passed, they were here. They were here. And they held my heart, and they made sure that I was good. And they pulled back little by little when they could see, okay, she's coming out. She's going to be all right. And then they pulled on back and they went on back to their lives. To me, that looks like forgiveness, but I don't know if that is or not. I don't know. I don't know. But to me, that is forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean we need to take it back. We need to rewind and go right back to where we were before and keep operating the way we were before. It's not possible because, like I said in the episode before this, I'm not even that person anymore. You only get a version of me. So how could we go back to where we were? We can't. And that's understood. Forgiveness looks different for everyone. So when I think about the situation that I had to deal with or not deal with most recently, when I spoke in the last episode about, no, you need to keep in touch. Listen, whoever a person is, regardless of where they are in my life, regardless of how they relate to me, regardless, I make the decision to continue on that path or to go off that path. And I make that decision based on how I feel in the relationship. So if the relationship is creating a sense of heaviness, if the relationship is causing me to feel drained, I let it go. And when I tell you, it doesn't even matter who it is. When it's causing me that kind of a drain, I will let it go. Does it mean that I have not forgiven that person? No, that's not what it means. It means that I am so focused on me that I cannot continue to go on that way. The comment was made to me by an individual. Oh, well, I thought you were onto doing a forgiveness. I thought you were about forgiveness or something like that. And it was such a slick tone. There was such a slick tone to it that I knew what she was doing. I knew exactly what she was doing. And I said to myself, you know what? You kind of walked yourself into this. So now I'm going to walk myself out. I'm going to let that thing go. Give myself permission to walk away. And that's exactly what I did. Do I have any negativity? Am I not forgiving that person? Nope. I don't feel like that. Wish that person the best. Wish that person the best. Because forgiveness has to do with my definition of forgiveness. As long as I'm not wishing any ill will, as long as I'm not hurting that person intentionally, that is forgiveness for me. And it's only got to be a functional definition for me. And that's the functional definition for me. If I do not wish a person ill will, if I am not doing anything to intentionally hurt someone, that is forgiveness for me. That's good enough for me. In my first episode of forgiveness or about forgiveness, I actually, off the top of my head, I feel like the title of that podcast was Forgiveness Is, or I believe, but either way, that episode I discussed the situation with my son. Where am I? Fast forward a year later with that situation. Taking some long, hard, thought, time, journaling, reflecting, being able to be around some people that can teach me things that I had never considered before. It took all of those things. 3 grief therapists, 3 different grief therapists, and a therapist alongside of that. A lot of work, a lot of hours in therapy. Believe me, a whole lot of hours, and every minute was worth it. Every single minute was worth it, and I don't regret any of it. And what I found, me personally, as I started to read more, as I started to meditate more, pray more, what I found was that everyone in this life that I encounter is here to teach me a lesson, is here to show me something, expose me to something, open me up to something. Everyone in my life. And back in December, when my niece lost her mom, and when she said, why would this happen? Why now? And I said to her, we never get the time we want. We just get the time that we need. Now, whether or not that really and truly resonated, I don't know. She'll figure things out in her own time. But I can honestly say for me, that's what it is. Everyone that comes into my life, everyone that impacts my life is doing it for a reason. They're opening me up to something. They're showing me something. They're teaching me something. Everyone. I don't care who it is. And I won't even say I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Those 3 that conspired, those 3 that are now locked up for that homicide, for that setup against my son, they have taught me some things that actually I wish I never had to learn, but they did. Do I wish them ill will? I don't wish them ill will. I don't. Am I up at night angry, mad? I'm not. And it's because I had to do some deep soul searching within myself. I had to do a lot of praying, meditating, journaling, listening, crying, and everything else. And it takes a while to get here. And I'm not saying that the journey is done. It's absolutely not. But my definition of forgiveness for them definitely doesn't look like forgiveness of a friend. Not now. To go to either one of them, hold their hand or hug them or laugh and talk, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. At least not now. But do I wish anything negative, ugly, hurtful on them? I wish accountability on them. And I trust. Just like I said earlier, when I say I trust, I mean I trust that all that is coming to them is going to come to them the way it needs to. Period. I don't know what that looks like. It's not in my hands. I trust, and I don't feel that I need to create some huge disturbance and do all kinds of hateful things, say all kinds. I don't. Again, I trust. And accountability will meet them just like accountability meets me. Different circumstances, of course. But accountability does not allow anyone to walk away in this life. It just doesn't happen. And if I tie myself up with worrying about what's going to happen with it, have you ever seen any of those shows, any of those crime shows where you can see where parents have allowed things like this to weigh on them so heavily that their health goes and everything goes? It's because they spent so much time being angry and they spent so much time not forgiving. I really don't have the time to do that because I have so many things that I have to do. And I trust that I will see my baby again. I trust that we'll be together again. It's going to be a while. Because I don't plan on leaving here anytime soon. And I think we all come with our own expiration date. It's my belief that we come here and we go exactly when we're supposed to. It's my belief that we never get the time that we want, but we get the time that we need. It is my belief that forgiveness comes in all different shapes, sizes, all different ways. But I also believe that everyone in our life, every impact in our life happens for a reason. It's to teach us. It's to grow us. And it is up to us to accept that, learn and to grow from it, become better, not bitter, and live. Live. Forgiveness is about living, allowing yourself to live, allowing yourself to be happy. And if you cannot forgive, you cannot be happy. You cannot live the life that you were destined to live. You can't. Because of the pent-up anger and the hang-ups. But I can move on and I can live my life through this pain because I know who my son was. I know that we are connected. I know that he came here to teach me something. And some of those things I figured out. And I know that he'll live in my heart forever. I absolutely know that. And I'm grateful for the time that I had with him. Didn't get what I want, but I definitely got what I needed. Don't let anyone tell you that you haven't forgiven someone because they don't feel like you are treating them the way they think you should treat them. That belongs to you. You don't wish ill will. You don't wish negativity. You're there. It's Jody signing off of Fervor Voice about forgiveness. There are different levels to this thing. Think about it. Anybody that you need to forgive, which is everybody, work on it. It'll grow you, make you better, not bitter. Signing off. Talk to y'all soon. Peace. It's me. I'm back with a recap. All right, so get into that recap real quick. I started off and I defined forgiveness. I talked about what it was for me. I talked about how there are different levels of it. I talked about basically the fact that you have to define it for yourself. Whoever you are, whatever you feel, you have to define it for yourself. And if you don't define forgiveness, you can't forgive anyway. It's just like anything else. If there's no definition for it, there's no understanding of it, there's no way for you to actually do it. There's no way for you to actually complete it. I gave examples far back as high school. That's a real long time, decades ago. Really long time ago, but those situations still resonate with me because I understand what that was. I understand what that other person was or was not doing. And I also understand that to me, I would have thought it would have worked out a little bit differently, but it's not always that way and it doesn't have to be. It's only the part that only your lift is what needs to be understood. Only your lift. Talked about in my last episode, I don't waste a whole lot of time explaining. If I feel a certain way, you don't get it, I'm going to lay it out there one time and I'm going to walk away. Same thing with this. I also talked about how I discovered that this life is about living a life of love and learning. That's what this life is. You can throw in whatever else you want to, whatever junk you want to. At its core, at the foundation of it all, it's about living a life of love and learning, period. Accepting that, I trust. I trust in the universe. I trust in what's happened so far. I trust in what has happened in the past to have been a learning experience. And I trust that moving forward, it will continue to be that way. Things will continue to line up for me just the way they are supposed to. I learned that forgiveness is relative to the individual. And I carry, no weight that is so heavy that I can't live and breathe. Period. My son lives in a place of perfect peace. So what the hell I got to fight about? Nothing. What's going to happen is going to happen. I'll continue to carry my son's legacy. That's my job. Continue to carry his legacy. The ugly part, that's going to be dealt with the way it's supposed to. That's forgiveness, y'all. Have a wonderful day. Wonderful weekend, actually. We're heading on into the weekend. All right. Have a good one. Jody, a Forever Voice. See ya.